welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley. If you are new, welcome, and if you're not new, thank you so much for coming back for another video. In today's video, we're talking about the Viseart Liaison palette. We're going to be playing with this today, alright? I recently added this to my collection, and I'm very happy that I did. Let me show you guys the shades. Okay, so yeah, very excited to play with this palette. If you guys are interested in seeing how I achieved this look and you want to see some comparison swatches at the end and my final thoughts on the palette, whether you need it in your collection or you may already have some of the shades in your collection, definitely stay tuned. Hey you guys, so let's hop right on in. I've been eyeing this palette for maybe about a month or so, and I wasn't sure when the VIP sale was happening, so I just said I'm gonna buy it. The Viseart Liaison palette. Girl, this is so pretty. Alright, so here it is. It's got a little flap here with the names, and you can just slide that on over and like a little door. I think that's really cute and really good and user-friendly versus the Natasha Denona thing that's just like a little flap in the wind that you got to deal with. This is a very smart thing. Look at the shades. We've got 9 shades here. Very pretty. I feel like they're coming off a little bit washed out on camera, but these are very, very pretty shades. So I thought this would be a slightly more wearable version of the Colourpop It's My Pleasure or something. What is this called? Yeah, It's My Pleasure. I thought this would be a more wearable version of the It's My Pleasure palette by Colourpop. Let me show you guys that one. Alright, so here is the Viseart palette versus the Colourpop palette. Alright, versus the Colourpop palette. So you can see this is a much brighter palette, more bright tones, and this is a little bit more subdued, and I feel like this is going to be a very nice wearable purple option if you are interested in that. And then this one is a more fun, bright, you know, you want a bright, colorful look, then go with this one. Price difference can't be beat though. This is like $12 and this was $50. And then at the end I'm going to see if there are any shades that are similar between these two. Right now we're going to hop into a look. So let me zoom you guys in. Alright, so for the first shade I'm going in with Fusion. It has a rich, cool tone to it, and I'm putting that into the crease area. Let me look ahead. Maybe this will be a better view for you guys. Okay. So this is going on really nicely into the crease, and it's deepening that crease very nicely, but then also blending out into the transition area as well. Now there are 2 shades lighter than this. I could have used those in my transition area, and I have used them in my transition area. So I'm going to take a fluffier brush into blushing, and I'm taking that right along the edge of where we put Fusion to just get a little bit more of a blend. It wasn't necessary, but I did want to show you guys that shade. And it kind of just blends in with my skin, but provides a nice, you know, tone in that area, purple tone in that area. Going in with my Wayne Goss 26S into Falling, the dark purple matte. Putting that on the outer corner. Not bringing that too far into the crease, but trying to keep it low into the crease. I don't want to blow this out. Got that right there. Taking that same shade into the inner corner. And once again, keeping that lower into the crease. Okay. And then doing a little bit of connecting. And I kind of brought that above my crease. Very easy to use, and the blend is very nice. Now I'm going to take my 18 brush my Wayne Goss 18 brush into Fusion, the shade we used first, and just go around the edges of Falling. What I'm going to take on my lower lash line is another matte. Okay, and I'm going to take, this is the first time using this shade, Haze. This is the lavender tone, the like light, or not metallic, but purple. Oh, I thought that would come off a little bit more purple. It's not at all. It's coming off pretty pastel, so I guess true to color in the palette. I'll leave that one alone. It's okay. It's got a little bit of a purple tone to it, but it's not showing as purple as I thought it would. So we'll probably go over that. We're gonna go over with that with something different later. Okay. All right. So what I'm gonna take next, I'm gonna go in with this shade smack dab in the middle, Tingle, because this shade is beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful tone. Putting that low on that center area. Y'all see how vibrant that is? It's like, man. Going in with Shiver and laying that right on the side of that tone. Can you see that differentiation of color? It's a subtle differentiation in the viewfinder, but in person you can really see the difference, because Tingle, the shade we put on first right there, is more of a pure silver with a subtle, very, very, very subtle purple tone to it. And then Shiver is more of a lavender. I'm gonna take Ecstasy. Ecstasy, yes, honey. All right, taking this shade there, the true purple tone, and putting that above everything. And a little bit of dimension to this look. And then tapping over top of Tingle to make sure that blends nicely. And I'm going back into Shiver and making sure that that is, you know, blended nicely as well. Going back in with my 26S onto Falling and making sure it's blended over in these areas. Then I'm going to take on my pencil brush Ecstasy and smudge that along the lower lash line. And also taking some of Falling, connecting the outer V to the lower lash line with Ecstasy. And now for my brow bone highlight, I'm taking Embrace, the light matte shade in the palette, and just putting that right in that brow arch. And if you want a little bit of sheen, you could take Bisou, B-I-S-O-U-S, Bisou. Tap that in there and just lay that right in that arch. You get a really nice payoff with that, and I just lightly tapped into there. So I want to show you guys all that fallout, and hopefully I can get it off. Okay, I couldn't get it all off. You need to have some powder under there to catch it, or do your eyeshadow last. I mean, do your face makeup last. What I'm gonna do is just tight line under here. So then I'm gonna take this Eggplant Jordana liner on my lower lash line. I like this part here because I can just hold on to the palette like this with the little, you know, on top of the plastic flap. And that really helps me to hold the palette. I like it. Alright, so here is the finished eye completed. I'm going to do the other eye off camera and I will be back. Okay, you guys, here is the final look. Alright, so I I like this palette. I like this palette. And so not only do I really enjoy like the blendability of the mattes and the performance of the metallics in this palette, I just like the structure of it. The mirror is very nice. It's very like, you know, a secure little lid. You know, you don't have to worry about if you put it up, is it going to keep falling down into, you know, in your way. You can just hold it like this. Very secure, like, you know, construction right there. And then this little flap. So they didn't want to put the names. Viseart doesn't put the names of their shades on their actual palette. So I appreciate this little flap here. It's very secure as well. You put it right there, it stays. Put it right there, it stays. Put it right there, it stays. Fold it over, it stays. Okay, you can hold the palette like this with the flap, you know, covered, versus having to hold it like this and make sure you keep it, you know. It's very, I've experienced with palettes, I've experienced trying to like hold them so that I don't get my fingers in the shades while I'm using it, and it can be a little bit hard for me on my hands and my joints, I guess, because me growing up I did a lot of braiding and stuff, a lot of with my fingers, so sometimes they can kind of cramp up. So anyways, so I feel like this is very helpful the way they've got this little flap here. Okay, and then the shades perform nicely. The only drawback is that there's a lot of fallout when I use the metallics. I always use my metallics with my finger. So I guess if you want to alleviate that, then use a brush and spray the brush with Fix Plus, or if I put down a glitter glue, then I probably wouldn't have experienced any fallout. But you guys saw the intensity. You can see the intensity of the shades on my lids without any glitter glue, which is really, really good. And I'm happy that I have this palette now. This is probably like the third or fourth purple palette I have. I'm just going to show you guys some quick like visual comparison. So there's this palette, and I'm going to show you the Natasha Denona Lila palette. I don't think this is a comparison at all, because Lila, she looks purple. Okay, you look at this and you think it's going to be all purple, but she's very much so not all purple. Okay, the one purple shade we got up in there is this one. Alright, so there is no comparison. I thought there would be some type of comparison between these two, but there really is not at all. Nothing is comparable in this palette. Okay, I won't say nothing. Let me see her palette. What shade is that? Per Se. Let me swatch Per Se real quick. Per Se compared to Blushing in the Viseart palette. I think Per Se has a little bit more lavender to it, but let me show you guys this real quick. This is the Natasha Denona shade there, and then here next to it is the Viseart. So on my hand, those two look very similar, but I couldn't see anything else very similar at all. And quite honestly, the Natasha Denona has a lot more substance to it, a lot more. It just has a creamier feel to it, and you get a lot of product there with that one swatch versus this one. So for those two, really not too much of a comparison. So if you have the Natasha Denona Lila, I think you'll be fine to also get the Viseart Liaison. Let's see what I can compare with the Colourpop and Viseart. I guess maybe 2 or 3 shades. Alright. We could compare Kitten Fish and Haze, and then Chick Lit and Ecstasy, and maybe Sleeper Infusion. So we have Kitten Fish here from Colourpop, and then we have Haze here from Liaison. Kitten Fish and Haze. So Kitten Fish is much more pink, Haze is much more lavender gray, and also you see how that color just drags down consistently? That's really good. Kitten Fish kind of drops off right there, but Colourpop has good mattes also, so I'm not going to say it's a bad shade, but the swatch, you can see the very different swatch experiences between the two palettes for those two shades. These are not comparable at all. So I'm going to go Sleeper right underneath Kitten Fish. That's from the Colourpop palette. And then here is from the Liaison palette. These aren't the greatest swatches, but You can see no comparison between those two shades. Sleeper is very much so berry toned, and Fusion is just, you know, it's a deeper, like, cool tone purple. So let me fix that shade a little bit, swatch better. But Cheek Lit from Colourpop, very beautiful. And then, oh, this is Ecstasy from the Liaison palette. So not comparable at all. Once again, this is very, very purple, but it has like a pinky tone purple to it. This seems like a more bluer tone purple. Cooler than this one. In comparing the Colourpop palette and the Liaison palette, Colourpop's palette, It's My Pleasure palette, is a little bit more warm overall versus this Viseart. It's a little, the Viseart palette is more muted, so you're going to get a little bit more of a gray tone to the Viseart palette. Or this Cheek Lit shade is very smooth. It doesn't have specks of glitter in it, versus Ecstasy. You can see the glitter tones, like the glitter specks in it. So it's really light catching. It's catching a lot of light because of the various glitters that are in this shade. Let me find my Kevyn Aucoin NudePop and we can talk about that one. Now this one I think might be the most comparable, because this one has a muted overall tone to it as well. But the metallics, there aren't any metallics that are similar. 2, 3, 4, maybe 4, but they're all on the matte side. That would be comparable. Alright, so this is Sculpt from the Kevyn Aucoin. Embrace from Viseart. So Embrace looks a little lighter. Kevyn Aucoin's look a little bit more peach toned. This just looks like a lighter version of that, but very similar. Alright, this is Kevyn Aucoin Hue, and then this is Blushing from Viseart. So this one looks more purple tone. That has a little bit more of a pink hue to it, but you know, very similar still. Mural from Kevyn Aucoin. Mural is like a satin shade, so it has a slight sheen to it. And then this one is the matte Fusion. This one is matte, this one is a satin, but they have a similar tone to them. Once again, that looks a little bit more gray. That looks a little bit more pink. And then finally, the two shades that I thought were most comparable. Design from Kevyn Aucoin and Falling from Viseart. This is Design from Kevyn Aucoin, Falling from Viseart. When you compare it to the Kevyn Aucoin, this one just looks more like a purple black. This looks like a nice rich velvet, like aubergine dark purple. This one looks more blackened. If you have any of the palettes that I mentioned, just take that into consideration, the swatches and the visual like comparison between the two, how comparable they are, and whether or not you want to add this to your collection. But I'm happy to have it in my collection. I hope you enjoyed the look and the comparison swatches. This is only the second time that I've used it, but I am very pleased with it, and I'm happy to have that because I do once again feel that that is, you know, everyday, more everyday appropriate for my purple toned desires than the It's My Pleasure palette from Colourpop. And then Natasha Denona, she's in her own little world because she ain't comparable to nothing, okay? She doesn't compare to anything that I have in my collection, which is really good because that price point, girl, please. Alright, so anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up and leave me your comments. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more content from me, definitely hit that subscribe button. I upload videos 3 to 4 times per week. I'm currently on vacation, so the videos might be a little bit more sporadic this upcoming week, but we will be back to my regular schedule shortly thereafter. All right, I will be talking to you guys really soon. Thank you so much for watching. See ya.